goes fast like ocean waves. The anthems thrill the fluid veins. Choirs lift us high, then crash. Triumphant cries through sacred chains. Beneath the lights we conquer. Feel the dreams are cloud of strife. Heroes born from sweat and grit. Forever chance through endless life. We are the raging hearts. This stadium's pulse alive. Under neon glare defiant. This fever we thrive.
Hi guys, thank you for tuning in to a special edition of the Global Sport Fanatics Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Barilaro. Today we're actually going to do a one-on-one with former Wigan Warrior, West Tigers and Parramatta Eels winger extraordinaire Pat Richards. How are you, my man?
Good, brother. How are you, mate?
Very, very good. The reason I got Pat on this show is because he's got a bit more of an unusual story to tell as it pertains to how a career should unfold. So that's the reason why we got him on today. So Pat, tell me where we start.
So my rugby league journey started in under 12s really for Parramatta. I played soccer as a kid, and when I got to high school, went to Westfield Sports High, and I got in for cricket and athletics. But when I first got there, I wanted to play rugby league because my brother played, and my mum always said, once you get to high school, you can play. So sort of first year of year 7, I bumped into a guy called Danny Sullivan who ended up playing for first grade for the Parramatta Eels as well. He invited me down to Parramatta training, and the rest is history, really. So I joined the Parramatta side in under 12s, and I was in the Parramatta sort of district there, and was in a pretty good side to start with. We won every game that year in under 12s. No one scored a point against us, and I think we won the grand final.
Not 1 point.
I think we won the grand final at Parramatta Stadium, 57-0 from memory. So it was a pretty good introduction to rugby league, and I was in a red-hot Parramatta side that we ended up going on and doing really well over the years.
What years were they? Right, 98, 99, give or take? No, earlier than that.
So that would have been 94, I think it was. Yeah, 94. 42 now, so time goes quick.
Yeah, that's right.
Under 12s would have been 94, and it goes quick.
Wow. So, Parramatta, great club. Scouting for Parramatta, where did that all happen?
Just being in the Parramatta side, doing well, you sort of start to make some junior development squads at the end of the season when they pick you. And I remember being out of 12s, 13 sort of squads like that. And then sort of you really get picked up in sort of Harold Matthews and SG Ball. And again, we were in really good Harold Matthews sides. We won the comp. And SG Ball, we won the comp as well. So Shane Flanagan was our coach in our SG Ball side. And Jamie Lyon came down from the country, and we had a pretty good side growing up, and a year after SG Ball was when I made my NRL debut at 18, and for the Eels.
Were you always look? I'm 6'2", and you absolutely monster me. Were you always this big growing up, or did you just?
I shot up at about 15 years of age, about the same height I am now, so 6'4". And I was a tall, skinny kid, and when I first started at Cabra, they didn't really have a spot for me, so they threw me in the front row. And I was just a tall, sort of skinny kid, and I used to score a few like sort of length of the field tries and whatnot. So
As a front rower,
which was a bit different, and I had a headgear on and massive shoulder pads and the torpedo sort of.
I would have loved to see
pads
that
and stuff. So I think my destiny was always going to be an outside back, because once I started to fill out a little bit.
Oh well, that certainly panned out very well. So it's not really individual. It's more they kind of scouted you as a whole entity because Cabra was so strong. So they probably take a collection of you guys, and that's where it all came from.
Yeah, basically, and then you have trials for different squads at the end of a season as they normally do, and then you get picked up from that. So I suppose I was lucky enough that I was in a good side, that we had a good winning mentality, and we always thought we were going to win, and we kept pushing each other. And then Westfield Sports High School was the same. It was all the kids that went there, they're all competitive, and no matter what different sports you played, because I played a lot of different sports as a kid, and I think that's important because you pick up different skills from that. I was a soccer player growing up from 4 years old, and I think that's where I learned how to kick. So you learn to kick from a really young age, and then you can take those skills into rugby league, and you can add that to goal kicking and kicking off and kicking for touch and things like that. So I think the more sports you play, it definitely does help.
So that's interesting, because with all the sports you played and with your astonishing ability with the boot, I never saw any rugby union. Did you ever contemplate rugby union? Because that sounds like it would have been an absolute perfect fit.
Yeah, a little bit. I did get offered to go to rugby union actually when I was playing in England. A couple of times, yeah. So
85-metre field goals.
I did. Yeah, I did look at it, but eventually I just thought, you know what, I love rugby league, and it's taken me all over the world, and I didn't really want to change that at that stage. I was happy with the sport I chose, and I was getting enough out of rugby league. So yeah.
So 18 years old, you come into first grade. I'm not sure if this is correct, but my memory recalls a really rainy night against Melbourne. Is that when you made your debut? Was that the night?
That's correct, yeah.
And all the Origin players were out.
Yep. I think Eric Groth got picked in the Origin side.
Correct.
So late, Smithy called me up, and I debuted. It was unlimited interchange back then, so I was number 17, and I remember coming on the field about 5 minutes before half time. I get the call, and I was so nervous, and I remember just running out there, and I don't think I took a breath in 5 minutes, because at half time I could not catch my breath. I was just like a headless chook running out there. But I loved
from nerves or from the speed of the game.
Just the excitement of being out there and looking up, and you're seeing Stephen Kearney and Marcus Bai and those sort of guys, and
defending premiers.
And I was in high school the year before. So it's crazy to be there. I remember Paris Stadium Friday night. It's 15,000 people, and I'm thinking, far out, this is unbelievable. How can I be out?
Well, that's right. I was at that game. That's why I remember it. And I'm a few years younger than yourself, but I just remember it was pouring rain. It was an absolute mudslide. And it was, I think PJ Marsh had an absolute ripper of a game at halfback. But I remember that Melbourne had their Origin players out, but in those conditions, they're the defending premiers, so it doesn't really matter, right? But, you got the win. You got a taste of first grade. Were you a regular at that point? Were you in or out of the side after that?
Yeah, I ended up staying in the side, till the rest of the season. So I played the last 10 games in 2000. I missed the last game against Brisbane in that preliminary final because I rolled my ankle at training. So I played the first two finals against the Roosters and Penrith. Mm-hmm. We won those, and we had some really good wins there. We had a lot of momentum in that year, and I rolled my ankle at training, just basically backpedaling, and I sort of slipped and rolled, and my foot just ballooned up after that. So I was filthy to miss that last game of the year, but knuckled down and at pre-season training in 2001 and had a really good start, and I played the first sort of 10 games that year as well.
I mean, it's interesting you say that, because Luke Burt's one of our club legends, but I'm 90% sure that it was his position you took once you became a fully fledged first grader. Your magnum opus, from my memory, you might disagree, the Roosters semi-final, all right? You were good up until then, but that semi-final, you went to another level. And I always remember Pat Richards went absolutely ballistic. Made a mistake early on, you bombed the try, but from that point on, an elite performance, that put you on the map. What do you remember about that?
Yeah, that was a crazy night actually, because you're playing against absolute legends of the game. Brad Fittler. I grew up in Ashcroft.
That was second.
Brad Fittler grew up in
seventh.
Ashcroft. I'm on the same field as him. I'm still pinching myself that I'm playing first grade, and then being out there. And it was my first finals game. Ended up getting man of the match on Channel 9. So it was a crazy ride, and I just loved it. Playing with guys like Jim Dimmick and guys like that. I idolised those guys, and they were awesome for me. They were really good about bringing me through, and we had some really good young kids about to start their first grade careers as well. A few years older than me, Nathan Highmarsh, Nathan Claylis, Mick Vella, those sort of guys. We had a really good nuclear of a side, and I was just loving every minute of it.
Yeah. Penrith semi-final, again, outstanding. Again, Parramatta finished 7th that year. Took on the Roosters, I think it was 32-8. Took on the Panthers, who made the top 4, 28-10, very comprehensive. Luke Burke comes in for you, unfortunately, against the Brisbane team, who were all world. We are one of the great teams of all time. I'm not saying Luke Burke did a bad job, but how different it could have been, because they were monsters on those wingers. Nevertheless, 2000 comes and goes. 2001, they didn't win the competition, but it was an extraordinary year. Did you feel, going into that pre-season, something special's brewing here? Did you feel this side was going to do what it did?
A little bit. I mean, we were just on a ride back into 2000. Like I said, those really good young guys going through, they were all just playing with fun and enjoying their footy. It was a great environment to be in, and we started 2001. Yeah, I played the first 10 games before I did my knee, unfortunately. But Jamie Lyon was in the side in 2001, and he was such a good player. Crazy sort of skill level that he had, and everyone it was just a joy to be in. Hodjo was out the back and just killing it, and it was awesome to be involved in. And it was unfortunate to get that injury on the Friday night against the Bulldogs. I did my knee really badly, and I remember tackling El Masri in the corner at Para Stadium, and Luke Patton was about to try and get out of marker, and I wanted to get out and hold him up and put him back in the in goal for a repeat set. But had the long studs in, put the foot down, and he drove through, and my knee just buckled. And
that was it.
That was it. I remember going in to see the doctor and had an arthroscope, and he said, I've done the hamburger with a lot, so pretty much all the ligaments and everything. And that put me out for a long time, and I struggled to get going again at the Eels, and ultimately that's why I decided to sort of move on and try to change my luck a little bit, and that's when I went to the Tigers.
So at the time, there was a lot of talk about being an Origin player, 2000 to 2001, like you said, didn't pan out. You've gone to the Tigers in 2003 or 2004? 2004
was the first year, trying to miss the rest of 2001, 2002, I'm still coming back from that injury, few games here and there, I was just couldn't get that knee right, and in 2003 again, I was struggling a little bit and just for that consistency.
So you were in reserve grade in 2003? I must confess, I don't remember too much.
2003 would have been a lot of the time in reserve grade just because I couldn't get that leg going and whatnot.
Considering the rest of your career, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
Just, sometimes it's the way it works out. But I ended up having a meeting with Sheensy. I saw a vision there about leaving and going over there, and I got excited about that and just had a really good preseason again, leading into 2004. It was an unfortunate way to leave the Eels because I'd had a really good start to my career at 18 years of age.
2004, Tigers win the World Sevens at the beginning of the year. I don't think that's a sign of things to come. However, were there signs in 2004? It wasn't a great year from the Tigers, but the astonishing turnaround to 2005, even the first half of 2005, I don't think anyone thought the Tigers, I think they were 150 to 1 to win the comp. But what about 2004? Were there signs that something special was brewing, or did it all just come together in 2005?
I think there were signs. There was definitely signs.
Benji, obviously.
There were certain players there that were special. And when I remember having that first meeting with Sheensy, he sort of said, I've got this really good young kid. He's absolute dynamite. His name is Benji Marshall.
Wow.
And he goes, you get me excited like the first time I saw Laurie Daly play. When you hear something like that, you go, this kid must be special. And I remember just turning up to training and seeing some of the stuff he'd done, and I'd never seen anyone do that sort of thing. No one had ever done that in rugby league before. And he was doing it daily at training and then bringing it out in the games, and Sheensy allowed him to do that, which was good because some coaches wouldn't allow that. They sort of, mate, what are you doing that for? But Sheensy sort of promoted that. Well, if you're training for it, you can do it on the field. And so he was definitely special and different, but it didn't always work out for Benji early on, but he still had a crack at it. And sometimes it would pay off and sometimes it wouldn't. But that's why we're a little bit inconsistent that sort of season. But there was a few signs there that we had something special. But I think if you're going to win the comp, you need everything to align, and you need that consistency, and you need to defend well. And I think the run we went on in 2005, everything just came together. It was like all the stars aligned. It was the perfect time for us, and it was a hell of a ride.
2005. I'm a very, very big Parramatta supporter. I don't need to tell you that. Parramatta did win the minor premiership that year. Dragons were the favourites. But there was one moment during the season where, despite the fact that Tigers, it didn't look like much was going on, one thing that really sticks out to me, Cogra, Sunday afternoon. And the Tigers, they go to St George and they absolutely smack them. The score was like 32-18, something like that. But I'm pretty sure it was like 32-6, or it was something incredibly convincing. I'll stand to be corrected. But I remember thinking at the time, what is happening here? Because I didn't see that coming. And the Dragons, I don't believe they lost another game until you beat them again in the prelim. Yeah. This is 10, 11 weeks prior to the semi-finals. Do you have any recollection of a moment where you guys looked at each other and went, I think we got something here? Was there a moment in that season? That's what I remember. But was there another moment that you went, no, something's going good here?
Yeah, well, I think that was funny because that was the start of our 8-game winning run.
That was the first game of it?
That was the first game of it. So, yeah, that was 10 weeks out from the finals. We won 8 straight.
And then lost 2.
Then we guaranteed, because halfway through the year, we sort of had a top 4 goal, and Sheensy sort of revisited that. He said, we might have to go top 8 goal. And then Benny Galea stood up and he said, no, we're going to have to, that's our goal. We're going to do it. Let's rip in and let's focus on that. And we ended up going out there. We smoked the Dragons, and that sort of kick-started us, and it just clicked for us. We just played some good footy. We were defending well. We were just putting our plays on. Everything was working. Princey was on fire. Our forwards were great. Hodjo at the back. We just had such a well-balanced side that we would attack. We knew we could attack, but defending as well, we started to put it together. I moved from the right wing to the left wing, so maybe that combination with Paul Whatuira, and because Benji's shoulders weren't great as well.
How prophetic that was, considering what happened in the grand final.
Exactly right. So, like I said, you need a bit of luck and whatnot. Maybe it was just written.
That's the thing. All those calls, they just start to pan out, right?
It all started to pan out. That was the first of our run, and leading into the finals. Once we got that top 4 spot, we had two games to go. We played Melbourne away, but we already knew, we had our eyes focused on the finals. We're already top 4, so
and it was Penrith as well after that.
We lost those. We lost to Melbourne away. We lost to Penrith, but we already knew we were ready to go for the finals. And then we played the Cowboys in week 1 of the finals, and we put 50 on them.
Yeah,
we were just so focused, so we didn't even worry about those 2 games. We had top 4 goal. We knocked that off, and then our attention just turned to finals time.
That was scary.
We were ready. Yeah.
That performance was scary.
Yeah.
And then to back it up against a heralded Brisbane side, maybe weren't coming in with great form, but they did lead the competition for 3/4 of the way. And then you pumped them 34-6 as well. I mean, at that point, you must have been thinking, we can win this competition, surely.
Yeah, we put a good score on the Cowboys. We come up against that Brisbane side, and that Brisbane side, they were littered again. They always are with star players all the way through this side.
And that was the Tigers. That was the one sort of
exactly.
Yeah.
But we just backed ourselves, and again, people talk about our attack. But what was the score in that game against Brisbane?
34-6.
6. So we let in 6 points.
That's the difference.
So we're defending like a side who's going to win the comp. Correct. So in that run, we started to defend well, where people always saw the attack and whatnot, but we still knew how to defend. And we played the Cowboys the week before. We only let in 6 points again. So we're doing everything right, as premiership winning sides do. They need to defend your line.
Yeah, well, Penrith had the same story a few years prior, right? They won the comp 2003. Everyone's like, attack, get to the grand final, concede 6 points against the Roosters. Defence wins premierships. It never changes.
It never changes.
Look at Penrith.
Right. Yeah, it has to stand up in those big moments and whatnot. And we were just so focused. And then we get through that Brisbane game and we come up against the Dragons again. And
you only conceded 2 tries there
because they went on that big runner as well, and they were the favourites along with Parramatta. They were the 2 sides that everyone said that's the grand final. But we were just so confident in ourselves. We knew going in that game. I've never been more confident.
Wow, really?
Just with our team, we just believed in each other so much. And Sydney Football Stadium, it was absolutely pumping that night. And we ended up getting the win. So
the way you started that game, I knew that they were going to win.
Yep.
The confidence and Benji off the scrum.
Benji off the scrum play, and we just sort of shut the crowd up because there was a lot of the Dragons they bought a lot of tickets early on.
Sure.
Because they had the week off, so their fans got in early, but somehow the Tigers fans just got a way to get in there, and the Tigers fans just come out of the woodwork.
I got an interesting story about that game. I ran into Wes Nagama at a pub in Hurstville. He would never remember this conversation. I think we're all on the Terps a little bit. And I asked him about the game, and I remember him saying, like, what happened? And he looks at me point blank in the face and goes, champion coach, and just storms off. That's all he said. He didn't want to talk about it. I said, what happened? Dragons are flying. He looked at me and goes, champion coach. Put his beard
talking about Sheensy?
Talking about Sheensy.
Yeah.
He felt that...
You know what was so good for us was we had Sheensy there who'd won those grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Royce Simmons was our assistant coach, and he played in those grand finals.
That's right.
They just gave us belief as well. And we just had that side. Like I said before, it all just came together.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes before half time, I sort of I've done my leg. I came into field and I heard all these cracks and whatnot in my ankle.
Just before you go on, just in case anyone's not listening, 5 minutes before halftime in the prelim, you almost, for the rest of the year, almost gone. Correct?
Yeah, well, a year before that, I dislocated my ankle. So in a trial match in 2004, I first got the club. We played the World Sevens. We won that. I had a great preseason, and then I dislocated my ankle, and I thought, I keep getting injured. I can't get going.
So okay. How close were you to not playing in the grand final?
Well, basically, right at that moment, zero chance. Zero chance.
You were zero chance to play in the grand final at that point.
Well, when I did it, yeah, I thought I've done it again because I heard clicks and whatnot. My foot ballooned up, and luckily Sheensy allowed me all week to get going. So I had an MRI the next day and an X-ray, and I worked out it wasn't broken, but there was a lot of ligament damage and whatnot. But the doctor, I remember saying on Wednesday, he said, "Mate, we can do one thing. We can roll the dice here. We can needle it, but you could jeopardise the rest of your career. Would you be willing to do that?" I said, 100%. I'm in.
Well, you've had enough bad luck. This is your grand final.
You don't know when the next time you would have these. I was leaving to go to Wigan. It was going to be my last game, and I played every single game in 2005. So anyway, icing it, hyperbaric chambers all week, leading up to captain's run, and we inject the ankle, and then I can't feel anything in the ankle, and I thought, how good's this? And then I went to run, and I hurt my knee, and I thought, what's going on here? So doctor just whacked a couple of injections in that, because I tore some ligaments, some cartilage in my knee as well at the same time. So done that, ran down the corridor of ANZ Stadium back then, and went out St. Sheensy. I said, "Mate, I'm good to go." And he goes, "Go tell the boys," and I did, and they were all happy.
But you must have been worried.
Well, I was a little bit, but you just got to roll the dice and have a crack.
Wow.
That's it.
I don't think people understand how much pressure you guys put on yourselves,
Yeah.
your body, because that can, you'll live for the rest of your life if it goes wrong.
Yeah, but also if I live with the rest of my life, if I don't have a chance to play that game.
And then let's talk about the moment. We all know what we're talking about. It's going to be a moment that will be played long after you and I
because
gone.
of the story I went through and just all of that, I went through that and I walked through that fire just to get on that field. I was just involved in a moment that still gets played today.
It'll get paid forever.
It's 20 years next year, and it was just such a special moment. But like I said earlier, we'll talk about Benji. It's only special because he's such a special human, and what he did there, not many other people can do. And I was just on the back of it. I just reacted in a way that's how we played. I feel like that try encapsulated that 2005 West Tigers team.
Yes.
That's just how we played. So that wasn't just my try, that's our try. And I just finished it off, and the rest is history.
It's the greatest grand final try ever. I can't think of one more astonishing to start it from a try line to, I don't even know what Benji was doing back there as a 5'8", and then he comes up and the flick pass, and then
the reason why, like I said, the stars aligned. So Benji kept tearing his shoulder. His shoulder kept popping out. So
he was defending.
I was a right winger. Then I went over to the left wing, and then I was basically defending in the centres because he would now go back because his shoulders, right? And had that not have happened, he wouldn't have been there. He makes the break. He flicks it. It's like I would have got it. I would have tried to flick it to him, and that wouldn't have happened.
It's destiny.
It's just the way it works. It's just all the stars aligned. He was supposed to be there, and I was supposed to be there. Luckily, I was supporting enough, and when I seen him running across field, it happened so quick. Yeah, you just have to react. It's just a reaction.
But outside that moment, right? I mean, to be fair, you guys must have been pretty lazy because you just let front rowers score tries all game. Is that correct?
That's right. 3 of our front rowers scored, and I always give it to John Scandalis because he was the only front rower in our team that did.
You know what I love about that? In probably the most unique premiership win of all time, that is the most unique way to win a grand final. Yeah. To see a try like what you did, and to see front rowers scoring tries, you never see that.
Yep.
And good luck to them all too, because they're not the biggest front rowers as well.
No,
they're not the biggest guys, but they work as hard as anyone.
They were awesome for us. They promoted the footy. They played their job. They defended well. They got us forward. Scando was amazing. Toddy Payton was so skillful. Bryce Gibbs was impact, and LaFranchi was awesome for us as well. So they're all great players that had really long careers. And I think you look back at our grand final side. A lot of our team, they played long careers as well. So we were all just ready to go. We were such a good side, and it was just such a well-balanced sort of team put together from Sheensy, and it's crazy to think that we've got a premiership ring.
Again, probably the most amazing grand final win of all time, in my opinion. Considering prior and then what's happened since, to stick it in there and just go bang 5 years after the merger, which, you know, you could argue whether it was successful at the time, but it had to be done. That's a great achievement. You finish your career at the Tigers. You decide to go to Wigan. Now, it's a big call because you were married by then, correct? And I've met Kim. It's a big call because potentially you're going to have children, raising them in the UK. Did you feel it was a long career over there in Wigan? Were we there 8, 9, 10 years?
8 years at Wigan, yeah.
Did you think it was going to be that long, or did you think just go there for a bit?
Not at all, no. Well, like I said, I kept getting injured at the start of my career, and then an opportunity come up to go overseas, and I just thought, you know what, I'm one injury away here from retiring. Like, this might be it. So I might not ever get an opportunity to do this. So
you just whatever happens, happens.
We just go, you know what, let's go. And Sheensy at the time said, no, mate, I want you to stay here. I want you to, the next steps are Origin, that sort of thing. But nothing's promised for anyone. But he said that's the path he wants me to go on. And I thought about it long and hard, but I just decided to take the opportunity. And you know what, I loved it. And especially after winning the grand final here and then going over there. And the first year over there wasn't great either. We nearly got relegated because they have relegation and promotion over there.
Really? I don't even know.
Wigan was struggling. We nearly got relegated and we stayed up. And then, we had a couple other guys join the club. Trent Barrett come across, and then we started to build. And then Michael Maguire turned up, and then so my last 4 years was super successful at Wigan. The first 4 years, first year struggled, and then we started to build. So I was there from the start of that, and then to leave Old Trafford end of 2013 after winning the grand final, the Super League and the Challenge Cup at Wembley that year. Pretty cool.
Oh, what was the Challenge Cup like? That would have been crazy.
Amazing, yeah. So Wigan's it's got so much history, and I love playing over there. And they were awesome with the Challenge Cup and their history. They've won it so many times, and to be able to do that, take the trophy back from London, from Wembley, back to Wigan, there was 20,000 people in the town turning up to support us, and it was absolutely crazy.
Okay, so can you just explain the field goal? If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube. Just type in Pat Richards field goal. It'll come up. How on earth did you kick a field goal from dummy half? Probably 60?
It wasn't dummy half. It was we ran the ball on the last, and I got the ball. So Anthony Gelling was the centre. He just passed me the ball, and I just before I even knew about it, the ball was going over. It was 14 all of the time, 15 minutes to go. Yeah. And I've just hit this thing, and as soon as I hit it, it was just sweet.
You were near the sideline.
Yeah, it was.
What are you, 55 out near the sideline?
The older I get, the further out it goes. So I was about to. No, I'm joking. It was just a crazy time, and I just hit it and just backed myself, and we ended up going over. So
I remember watching it, thinking, we're never going to see you again. The rugby contracts are going to come thick and fast. That's what I actually thought at the time, because I thought that's not normal. Rugby league. That's not normal.
Yeah.
Union, it's almost not normal. But I thought 100% he's going to get a contract here. But nevertheless, it doesn't happen. You come back to the Tigers in 2014.
Yep.
Yeah. You were still playing great football at the time. But New South Wales and Australia at that time was probably gone. You don't have any regrets over that, obviously, because you said you enjoyed your time over there. Kids were born, you brought them back here. And how long were you at the Tigers after that?
So I came back after 8 years in England, and I had 2 years at the Tigers.
2 years at the Tigers.
So I always wanted to come back, and I didn't want to be sitting on the couch one Friday night going, geez, I should have come back.
Yep.
So when the opportunity come up to come back, and the Tigers were there, I just said, you know what, let's go. And so I'm really thankful I got that opportunity to come back and play, and my kids got to watch me play for the Tigers again. And then I thought I was going to retire, and then Catalan Dragons offered me a year, 2 years actually, to go over there, and I only lasted one. My knee was buggered, and so I feel content because I got everything out of my body that I could, and had 17 seasons.
It is. It's
across 2 competitions. Ended up living in 3 countries. My son has gone to school in 3 different countries. So I mean, look, it's all about a life experience, and I did it a bit of a different way than a lot of other people, but. I wouldn't change a thing. Some people ask me about Origin, that sort of thing. No, even if I did stay, I might not have made it and whatever. I don't even think about that. I think about I did what's best for me and my family. I loved playing for all the clubs that I played for in different ways. I loved my time at Parramatta as a junior coming through. I loved the change that I went to the Tigers. I now live in Tiger Town as well, so that's good. I went to a great club like Wigan, who I love my time there as well, and then I got to live and play in France. So pretty cool to be able to do something. All I ever wanted to do was play professional sport as a kid, and I got to do that out of high school, and then when I finished up at 34 years of age, I was pretty content.
When you came back from Wigan, there's a lot of, the context is always, the Super League is just nowhere near as good as the NRL. And, look, I don't have an opinion on that because I've never done it. You've obviously had incredible experience in both. Did you notice when you came back to 2014, is it as big as everyone says? Was it so gaping that you got back in 2004? Because I remember you playing really well in 2014. It didn't look like you had lost a step, and it didn't look like you were just out of touch with the speed and the physicality. Your thoughts on the difference between Super League and the NRL?
I get asked this a lot. Everyone always asks it. I think the biggest thing is just that consistency.
With all the teams.
Week in, week out.
Yeah,
week in, week out. The NRL, every single week, it's a really hard game. Where over in the Super League, you got those good top six sort of sides that would compete really well over here. But after that, you might have a couple of sides where it's just not as intense. So the week-to-week grind of the NRL is probably the one that steps it apart. But I think Wigan showed Penrith, that this great Penrith side just went over to Wigan last year and got beat. Wigan are an amazing side at the moment still.
Defensively. They've conceded, I think, 1 try in 2 grand finals.
Yep.
Aggregate.
Yep.
That's
and
incredible.
Like we say, defence wins premierships. So that's the biggest take that I got.
So I hate when people say they write things about Super League and then they say they'll come last in the NRL. They wouldn't win a game. I'm like, you're telling me Wigan wouldn't win a game in the NRL?
No.
It's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They're a very good side, a very good club. And you know what? I love both competitions. They're a bit different from each other. Why do we have to ask who's the best is? Let's just appreciate what we got.
I love watching the Super League.
The atmosphere in the Super League is second to none. So the atmosphere in Australia is a bit different, but we still love both. So I was just happy I was lucky enough to win a comp over here, win a comp over there, and I think that's what you play the game for is those memories and those mateships and the experiences.
And you've obviously been a trailblazer to prove that Super League isn't about a retirement package at the end of the week. Just for anyone out there, you can do your own path, and Super League can be. I'm not here trying to promote Super League, by the way, but I'm just trying to say that it is a valid way to have a career.
Everyone has their own different paths, and look at someone like Bevan French. He was a little winger over here, and he's gone over there as a winger fullback sort of thing. Now he's a 5'8".
He's a 5'8", and he tackles really well. Everyone says he can't handle the defensive systems here.
He's absolutely outstanding.
It's like, put him here now, I guarantee he'll defend well.
Look how much his game has developed over there.
Correct.
He is a hell of a player, and Jai Field as well. He's gone over there and killing it. And everyone's got their own
You're
different
actually killing
paths.
me right now because of the Parramatta. But anyway, go on.
But everyone's got their own little paths, and it's not always stock standard. It's whatever makes you happy. And those guys are really enjoying their life and playing for a great club like Wigan, and good on them. Whether they come back to the NRL or whatever, they're having a great time and they're playing professional rugby league, and they're winning comps. So how good's that?
Well, before we finish up, good luck with your son. He's now getting involved in the pathways of the Tigers. That's fantastic. I've met Aiden. I can't believe he's almost in year 12. I can't believe that. Last question. You've got to be honest now. I'm going to ask you this one time, okay? Aliens come down from the spaceship. World's going to end. One game. 2001 Para. 2005 Tigers.
What? Who's going to win?
Who's going to win?
Depends what year you get me and what side. So if you ask me around that time where that Tigers team was going, I would just I'll back us to beat anyone. You know what I mean? But both different sides. It's hard to like that Parramatta side was amazing and probably should have won the grand final, but had a really bad half of footy.
That was it, eh?
One half of footy. They didn't get out of the blocks. But that's what the game is. The game's not scripted.
You can't have a bad half with Andrew Johns, can you?
You can't. You've got to just give credit where it's due. They played better on the day. That Parramatta side was the best side all year by a mile. You know what? A little bit like the grand final this year. Melbourne were the best side all year. Penrith played better on the day and they won the grand final. So
I was there. Great game.
I think it's hard to say. But Parramatta side was a cracking side. That was a very good attacking side as well, wasn't it? So
Very unique.
but obviously, I'd have to back the Tigers to get it.
The reason I asked the question is because both teams, probably the two best attacking sides I've seen in my life.
Yep.
I'm 40.
Well, that
in terms of
Parramatta
attack,
side
those two.
they broke all the records with points scored that year, didn't they?
Plus 433 for and against.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, when you look at Penrith, who have only been in the 200s in this whole thing,
Yep.
more than double. That's how good that was. And that top 8 back then, the players were just next level.
Yeah.
You know. But, I mean, those two sides for mine, not just the best attacking teams, but the most unique attacking teams.
Yep.
They're the two sides for mine in the history, or in my history, that I've never seen two teams I've loved to watch more than the 2001 Eels and the 2005 Tigers. And you were part of both.
Yeah, pretty cool. Brett Hodgson was also part of both.
Part of both, correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Hodjo doesn't get, I suppose, the recognition that he
Should.
deserves.
He's a great
He was a
player.
hell of a player.
And a great goal kicker.
Great goal kicker as well, yeah. 2005, through that final series, geez, he just did not miss. And I think it's so important as a team and as a goal kicker, if you're kicking, going up by sixes, it just gives your team so much more confidence.
Massive.
All the good sides over the years. Look at Penrith with Nathan and whatnot. You've got to just make sure you're going up in sixes, yeah.
His career success rate, Nathan's at 84%.
Yeah,
so
it's ridiculous.
everything he's done, he's got 84% success rate.
It's
What a
crazy.
freak.
Everyone always gets really excited about certain people when they do things. They say he's this, he's that, but
It's those fundamentals, eh?
he's also incredible, isn't he? How clutch he is in certain moments and what he's done already. It's crazy. And he was basically playing with a busted shoulder this grand final, a busted knee last grand final. And
He's making a case, isn't he?
he is. You
It's a big
don't
call,
like to go there,
but he's making a case.
He's definitely, when it's all said and done, he's going to be remembered for a long time.
It's going to be a huge argument against to say that he's not the greatest when it's all said and done. Long way to go. He's probably got 10 years to go. What
10
if
years
Penrith
to
win
go.
another 10 comps?
Even if he retires tomorrow and they
Absolutely.
look back at his career already, he's won 4 grand finals in a row.
Unbelievable. He's not Benji in terms of skill or anything. It's a different skill set.
He's a bit of a complete player, isn't he? His defence is as good as any halfback, probably the best than anyone's ever seen. His kicking game is crazy. His clutch plays, but they're a hell of a side, aren't they?
Best side I've seen collectively. 4 grand finals in a
They're
row.
going to be remembered like that Parramatta side. It's still talked about today.
But in the cap era.
Yeah.
To do what they've done in a cap era is phenomenal.
Edwards and Yo and all those two guys, they're incredible.
Incredible. But I really appreciate your time today. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content.
Thank you.